fans, and welcome to another edition of the Suplah. I am Andy Quan, and with me, as always, is Sam Brooks.
I feel like we need to address something before it gets entirely out of hand. We need to address the elephant in the room, I'm afraid, mate.
Oh god, what's that?
So as we mentioned on our last show, can't remember what it was. It was the ranking. It was the ranking of the announcers and the commentators, yes.
Oh, yes.
As we all know. That went very well. An idea suggested by one of our viewers, the AC/DC Madman, also known as Space McGee. I wish I knew why YouTube decided to give everybody 2 different usernames nowadays, because I didn't know that this gentleman, the AC/DC Madman, is indeed a long-time fan, and I recognize that username from our previous live streams. But then it was like, no, he's actually called Space McGee. You don't know who he is anymore. It's like, well, okay.
He actually lives
Thanks,
in space.
Mr. YouTube. Very awkward of you. Thanks. So, yeah, we did that. We mentioned in that video we have our Andy Facts on Twitter, premiering every single day, 1 fact a day at around 7 PM UK time.
Whatever time that is where you live, I don't know.
Figure it out. Google it. We're not your dad. However,
Am I?
I hope not, because this has, I'm going to say, what the kids call taken a hard left into a, quite frankly, terrifying and scary, unsettling territory here.
It is not lit.
Yes, that is also what the children say nowadays, isn't it?
It does not
This
slap.
is not cap, actually.
It does not.
I think you'll find.
It's not slapping at all.
That's what Jeff Jarrett says.
It's not rad.
So looking at these facts,
Okay.
as we know, they are supposed to be true things about one Andy Quan, this guy over here. They're all meant to be true, right?
I don't think they are. I think half of them are fake news, if not all
So
of
let's
them.
have a look at some of these, alright? Since the last time, we've had quite a few. Andy fact number 15. Andy once wrote a letter to Santa asking for a new Hot Wheels set. He woke up disappointed on Easter Monday. Is it true? Did that happen? Did you get confused between Christmas and Easter again?
No, I had to wait that long for a reply, and the reply was, "You can fuck off. It's Easter now."
Why would he write that at Christmas?
No, he wrote that at Easter.
Andy fact number 17.
How do you
Andy knows how to play several musical instruments. He can play a moving rendition of Pony by Genuine on the zither.
I mean, Genuine's Pony is a very good song, and
I'm going to be bold and assume you do not know what a zither is.
It's like a guitar, isn't it?
Close enough. Andy fact number 18. This is where I thought, alright, this one's a little bit strange, but nevertheless. Andy knows when you are sleeping and when you are awake. Check your walls.
I'm
that a
not
threat?
I'm not the thing from Stranger Things, for fuck's sake. Like, what the fuck? No, I don't do that. What the hell is going on? What?
So I'm like, okay, a little bit weird. I did check my walls. You're not there.
Good, I'm
Andy
not
fact number
there.
19. Andy's right leg is a centimeter longer than his left leg. The researcher who obtained this information has since been arrested.
That's
Is
not
that true?
true. I don't have, like, a weird gammy leg. What the fuck?
But that's not what it said. It said that your right leg is a centimeter longer than your left leg.
I don't know. Do you want me to measure my legs?
I think someone did, and they apparently got arrested for it.
No one has measured my legs. Whatever this thing is it's all fake. It's not true.
Andy fact number 22. Andy is a big fan of bird watching.
No, I
He
am
saw
not.
3 starlings outside your bedroom window last night.
Oh god.
Did you?
Jeez, no, I'm not. I
You
don't
looking
like
at my
birds
bedroom window?
And outside your window, that means I'm fucking watching people's windows. I don't do that. What the hell's happening? Who's writing this shit?
I mean, I thought I did, but I don't remember writing any of these.
Well, what's doing it then?
Andy fact number 25. He's coming. That's it. That's the fact. He's
Oh,
coming.
that's not fucking terrifying at all, is it? Who's writing this shit?
It's not terrifying, and we also know it's not true.
In what sense?
I'll let you think about one.
Okay.
Some of these I do remember writing. Like, for instance, Andy fact number 27. Contrary to popular belief, Andy is not from Earth. He's from Primark. I remember writing that.
What's
because it's
wrong with
funny that you get
Primark?
all of your clothes from Primark.
What's wrong with Primark?
I'm just saying, there's other shops that exist, Andy. It's okay. You
I
don't have
like
to dress
Primark,
like a
it's
mannequin
cheap.
in the window the entire time. You can venture out.
I like Primark. It's cheap and they do my size.
What? 12?
Not 12. I buy adult clothes that are like extra small.
Andy fact number 32.
What?
Andy has been known to dispense ice cream from his trachea. The flavour of the ice cream remains a mystery.
I know I don't have that ability, and if I did, I'd be a millionaire.
What would the flavour be?
Andy.
Okay, this one's horrifying. Andy fact number 34. Since 2007, at least 20 detached human feet have been found on the coasts of the Salish Sea. We urge you to keep your feet tucked in when you sleep tonight. And there's a horrifying little GIF image of your face distorting like a little nightmare creature. What the fuck is this?
I don't know. I saw that as well. I have no idea what that's about. I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on. Somebody is making up tweets. I don't know if it's a person. If it's some
I didn't write
AI
these.
thing.
I didn't write these. You want to know how I know I didn't write these? The
How-
newest one is in Spanish.
I don't speak Spanish, Baxter. So what the fuck?
Neither do I. Andy Hecho number 37. Por favor, ayuda. Mi teclado ha cambiado a español. No sé cómo leerlo. A juego raro. What does that mean?
Are you sure you don't speak Spanish? Because that sounds legit to me.
No, I can just pronounce these fucking words because unlike you, I have a grasp on foreign languages. I just
Alright,
don't
well,
understand what the fuck it means.
I'm going to try and read it. How about that?
No, please don't.
No,
Spare
I'm
us.
going down.
Spare
I'm
us
going
the
on
fucking
the
experience,
account.
Mr. Lowe's Ingablabbbles
No,
de Japan.
I can read words. Watch this. I'm going on the Suplah's Twitter right now, which you can follow us at the Suplah.
Yeah, follow at the Suplah just so you can get updates on this because Jesus fucking Christ, what is all of this? It's horrifying. To be clear, I didn't write these. These are all just being randomly dispensed with nightmarish images that I didn't fucking create. So your guess is as good as mine. All right.
Some of these images I did actually make myself. There's basically Snapchat filters. What the fuck? Who's got my Snap? Anyway, so the 37 fact is, por favor, my...
Is that what that
shut up,
says? Is
shut
it?
up, I'm getting it. My teclado
No.
ha cambiado a español. No si como liro a Julio
Lero?
Arrow.
You are fucking something else, mate.
And
Jesus
wait, I'm
fucking
going to
Christ.
translate it.
Yeah, please tell us what this says.
I'm going to translate it from, let's do this. Okay, please help. My keyboard has changed to Spanish. I don't know how to read it. I smell weird. Oh.
Is that what that says?
That's what that says, yes.
Is that what that says?
I smell weird. What?
Oh, okay, you smell weird. Okay, that may be a true part of the fact.
I don't smell weird. I shower a lot.
Yeah, and your keyboard is apparently stuck in... whose keyboard? What keyboard? I
What
don't
keyboard?
understand.
Who is writing this shit?
Tune in next time for more updates on the Andy facts. I don't like where it's going, but I'm curious to see what happens.
Well, there's one here that's terrifying. I've got red eyes, and it says, Andy once created an entire universe in a Petri dish on accident. He accidentally sat on it, and the universe thanked the Lord for his mercy.
That's some biblical fucking horror right there.
What the fuck?
But anyway, moving on to potentially less horrifying things, depending on how you look at it. Literally, how you look at it. Because you picked up AEW Fight Forever.
I did pick up Fight Forever, and I got the Elite Edition, because I'm a big smelly mark. So
You said it yourself, you smell.
So I didn't.
Smelly mark.
It was some sort of thing. So basically, we've got to figure out where this is going. Anyway, so the point is, AEW Fight Forever. It's should I go with the good first or the bad first?
Yeah, lay down the good first.
All right. So the good is this game is definitely a pick up and play game, which I think is great because I think for the past 20 years. Wrestling games have been... Obviously, it's not like 2K. It's not a simulation. It's an arcadey kind of thing. But you can literally pick up the controller and just play. There's no, steep learning curve. You could basically learn the controls in about 5 minutes, tops. And I know a lot of people are complaining about like the character models being like half cartoony, half kind of real. I don't mind it.
By people, you mean me.
Yeah, but it's not just you, it's other people saying it. But
Because it's a valid criticism. What the fuck do they look like sometimes?
yeah, it does look a bit weird on occasion, but I think stylistically you just get used to it, and it adds to the arcadey aspect of it. If you're going into this expecting 2K, like a WWE 2K game, you will be thoroughly disappointed. But you're a fucking idiot if you think that, because you clearly haven't seen any of the pictures, videos, or anything that have been going around since, I don't know when this thing was announced. So
Feels like 5 years ago at this point.
Well, yeah. So, from the gameplay standpoint, it's really good. And one of the things I was terrified about was there are a series of like mini games within the actual game itself. And I'm like, oh god, I'm going to hate this. I'm going to fucking hate this.
I don't enjoy games within games. What is this bollocks?
It's actually really fun.
Oh, no shit.
And the thing is, like, there's different ones where you have to collect like coins. There's like a mini game where you can choose a weapon, like a bat or a kendo stick or a barbed wire bat, and you can like just launch a ball with like one of the. See, Liam would like this. It has like the young bucks stuck to it, and you just like yeet them out the fucking arena, and you get points. There's like a quiz one where it comes up with like here comes to be a millionaire-esque type thing. There's loads of different mini games, and I think that would be really good if you have friends around. Because
So it has elements of a party game, in which case you can just do like multiplayer stuff?
Yeah, it's basically like Mario Party, but for wrestling. And that's basically the best way I can word the game, because
I love Kenny Party.
that's basically what this is, and I don't hate it. And even the Road to Elite, it doesn't take itself seriously at all.
What is this? What is this? I keep hearing people talk about Road to Elite, but I don't actually know what it is.
Basically, it's their season mode. So you play.
It's like a My Career type of thing.
Yes, it's actually quite interesting in the sense that it's literally what wrestlers do on the road. So like literally, you work out, you eat, and it actually is like very intriguing in terms of if you go to a city, it gives you that city's cuisine, like the most famous cuisine. So you learn something. It's educational.
You go to Mississippi and you get hamburgers.
I guess.
And you go to Texas and you get
Tex-Mex. So there, it's and you also interact with the different wrestlers and stuff like that. And it doesn't take itself seriously. It knows how goofy it is. It literally, there's one point in it where my character that I made was like, "Thank you for explaining that," since there are no voiceovers in this game. Literally, it says that in the game.
Really?
Yeah, and it's hilarious. And it's just like, it doesn't take itself seriously. It's just a bit of fun. And fair enough. I think it's good. I think it's just a fun little game mode. And there are like subtle jokes in there and stuff like that are funny. And yeah, you...
Is there a mode where you can go backstage and beat up the EVPs and then get in a lawsuit because of it?
No, but I've heard.
But then you get your own TV show made for you.
No, well, no. But there are like
that's not really realistic, then, is it?
Well, there is like opportunities to appear on like a TV talk show or news stations and stuff like that. And be like, so, well, who are you then? And like, oh, I'm Andy Quad. I'm All Elite. Yeah, and yeah, it's just
that
a bit of fun.
Thrilling.
It's just a bit of fun. I'm probably not doing it any justice at all.
Well, no, to be fair, it sounds like it has some good things. What are some of the bad things? What's everyone complaining about? What can I latch on as a negative source of energy? What's going on?
The Create Suite has a lot to be desired.
Oh, cool, man. I'm really happy to hear that as a connoisseur of a creation suite in every other game.
It's weird. A lot of the assets actually cross over from the 2K games, because obviously Yuke's originally made...
Oh yeah, it's the same developer, and 2K has a bad habit of keeping the same assets from like 10 or 12 years ago, so...
And...
that was just bound to happen.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, like, there's moves in Fight Forever that are actually the exact animations of using the 2K games. So there's
I
that.
recognise that clothesline.
Because
I know that. That's super kick number 10.
That's because I have a fucking problem. Anyway, so
You and me both. I'm the one who fucking recognises this shit. At least I have good reason. I live in these creation suites.
I do too. But yeah.
Now, this is the one I want to know. Is it possible to make any of our Brawl creations? Can you make Derek? Can you make Dragon? Can you even make a Horse, for example?
You can make a bear.
But you can make a bear?
You can make a bear. You can make a Hulk.
Well, fuck, I want a bear. Why can't we make a bear in 2K?
You can make... I made Derek, but it's not Derek. It's going to be his long-lost cousin, Denny Derek. Denny Omega. Denny Derek... Whatever. So the point is, the Creation Suite is a bit meh. But I think what it makes up for in a lack of Creation Suite is the one thing that I think saves the game, and that is the exploding barbed wire deathmatch. Holy
I
shit.
forgot that they put this in as a mode. Oh my god. Is it true that there are 2 separate types of finish that you can have?
Yes, but I haven't triggered the second one. So the first one is how the exploding barbed wire deathmatch should have gone. And it's so fun. It's so good. And every match I've done within it has been slightly different each time. In terms of like, oh, you think you'd play it once, you go, oh, bang, look, I've done it now. But every match I've done, because it's an arcade game and every match is different, it ends differently. In terms of like, not because the explosion goes off, but like the actual finish of the match or whatever. There's a second finish that I haven't triggered yet, which the explosion fails to go off properly.
And just like in real life.
And it's I've seen videos of it, and it's fucking hilarious. I haven't triggered it yet, but
I thought that'd be the first thing you would try.
Believe me, I've been playing this deathmatch for I've done like 20 of them, and I haven't done it yet. Haven't got the dud version, but that's kind of how I would describe this game. Is it doesn't take itself seriously. It knows it's basically an arcade game, and I think it's done something that wrestling games in the last 15, 20 years have really failed to achieve, which is anyone can pick this game up and play it. With 2K, there is a learning curve. With this, there is no fucking learning curve. Like, you could pick this game up and just play it straight away.
Square is punch, X is jump, triangle is chokehold.
Well, basically, to grapple, you have to hit A, and then one of the I don't know what, like you've got PlayStation, so triangle.
Are these just simple button inputs though?
Yeah, piece of piss. Like, it's so.
Oh, there you go.
And the other thing as well is that to do a finisher, you have to do a grapple. You have to flick the analog stick, and then your finisher bar comes up, and you can have up to 5 finishes and 5 signatures.
Okay, that's pretty good.
5. So yeah, it's really good. I think. How
many stars would you give it out of 5 in the Tokyo Dome, Andy Meltzer?
Out of 5?
Yeah.
3.
Okay.
5. The only reason being is the Create Suite is lacking.
You can't make Derek. It's fucking bollocks.
You can make a Derek-esque person.
But they don't have extreme body morphing, right?
No, you can't do that, unfortunately. But
no. Do you reckon it'll be a thing where it'll be like a yearly title, or do you reckon they'll just like input random drops of DLC for new wrestlers and like patch out any ones that could potentially leave the company? Because unlike WWE, I've noticed this with AEW, their roster doesn't really change much if you look at it from like year to year. Like, yeah, they signed some big people, but the people who are within the company more or less remain exactly the same. Cosmetically, there's no real major gimmick changes. With WWE, it's no wonder it's a yearly fucking title, because they have to update the entire fucking roster. Bearing in mind, their roster's made of maybe over 100 characters. AEW is a lot smaller. So I can't imagine this would be like a yearly release type thing.
I don't think it's going to be a yearly release, and I think that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yearly
'cause-
yearly releases is one of the biggest crosses that a franchise can fucking bear, because as we've seen, it can almost result in the death of a fucking franchise. If you only give them 1 year to do this shit, it's pretty fucking disastrous. That's why in a way I'm glad that this took forever to come out, because if it came out and it was bad and it was rushed and it was like crunched, clearly, it would ruin an opportunity for anything in the future. But now that it's actually come out finished, from what I can tell, I've not really heard of any sort of game-breaking glitches or bugs or anything like that, so...
There are a few, but it's very
But that's
rare.
to be expected with any game release nowadays,
every game
unfortunately.
glitches out. I mean, and the thing is, this game actually works. I'm like...
It works, exactly.
What?
That's the fundamental thing, is that if it released now and it works, there's opportunities further down the line for future game development. Which is
good. I think they're going to just add more stuff with DLC. And I'm going to be honest, I would prefer that than a yearly game coming out. I'd rather they just do a DLC, and I'll happily pay for a DLC pack and just add to it. And the other thing as well is, like, with any of these fucking yearly games, like FIFA, which is now no longer be FIFA, or Madden, or whatever, like, the games are basically fucking identical year to year.
The only thing they update is the roster.
Yeah, and the changes are like every 2 to 3 years, you notice changes. The thing is, I would rather they do it this way, take forever to develop the fucking game, but the game works and it's really, like, it's enjoyable, and just keep adding stuff to it to expand the life of the game. And they could add more created customization stuff. They could add more stuff. They could add a Ring of Honor DLC or a New Japan DLC or they could add more stuff. So
please give me New Japan roster members. Please, for the love of Christ, give me Will Ospreay. Give me Tanahashi. Yeah, fuck it. Give me Kojima. I don't care. Give me Japanese wrestling, please.
The moves are in the game, so it's not as if like they couldn't just do that. And I think that's probably the best way to do it now, is just to keep releasing DLC, keep the fucking game alive for a couple more years whilst you properly develop a game. And I mean, like, there's this.
I've also seen that people can create WWE superstars. Like, I've seen a Roman Reigns be made, but there's no community creation type of thing, is there? You can't download other people's creator wrestlers.
No, it's very old school. Like, I've been on Reddit, right? And people
It's just like the old days of SmackDown vs. Raw, where you have to follow instructions, right?
Yeah.
This following skin pigment, this logo in this place. I remember those days.
That's basically what people are doing. And I used to go on a website called, I think it was caws.ws or something, and I'd have to print off, like, this is back in the day. Back in my day! Like, I had to print these fucking things off and make characters and stuff like that. And people are saying, we're going to have to make another website because people want to make, like, Roman Reigns and shit and put them in the game.
Dream match, Roman Reigns vs. MJF. We want to see it.
By the way, MJF's character in this fucking game is just the fucking best. Like...
Oh, is it the same as in real life?
Oh, that's a good
Does he also
segue.
assault fans in the game?
No, but here's
Does he also have his terrible fucking mask?
So, this was what we're actually talking about today. Sam, not just MJF as a whole, but whatever. What is kayfabe, Sam, in 2023?
That is indeed today's topic, as we know, there's been a bit of, I want to say controversy, to put it mildly, amongst wrestling fans for the past couple years, but mainly recent years. Is kayfabe even a real thing anymore? Is it needed? Is it justified? We're going to have a deep dive into this weird concept known as kayfabe today, and hopefully get a couple of things off our chest, talk about some famous incidents of kayfabe being broken or maintained, and come out the other side more well-rounded individuals.
Hopefully.
But knowing you, the opposite will happen.
Well, should we go into the original foundations of what kayfabe is? Where did kayfabe come from? It sounds like a planet.
Planet Kayfabe, where everything is real, we promise.
Do you want me
promise.
to read this? Or are you going
Fuck
to read
no. No, are you kidding? I'll take this fucking. I'm taking the driving wheel now,
I can
mate.
read English. I can't read Spanish.
Again, I'll take the steering wheel for this one, mate. Don't you worry.
Okay.
We might as well, if we want to talk about kayfabe, we gotta fucking know what it is. Because I feel like there's so many different people who don't know what the fuck it actually is. When I always see comments being like, oh my god, he's breaking kayfabe. It's like, no. No, he's not. This was a planned thing that was meant to happen. So, kayfabe. Defined on Wikipedia as the portrayal of staged events, such as the competition, rivalries, and relationships between professional wrestlers, as being authentic. So essentially, there are two different building blocks for what makes kayfabe. First one, wrestlers portray fictional characters. And two, matches are scripted with predetermined endings. Can we agree that those are the most basic bare-bones definitions? Kayfabe is just the idea that what you're seeing on this wrestling product is real. Not scripted, not made up. It is a legitimate competition with real people doing stuff in a wrestling ring.
Yes, I would completely agree with that one.
So, it's an old thing. It dates back to when wrestling was a fucking sideshow, like carnival attraction. It can be traced as far back in print media in the Wrestling Observer to 1988. No one really knows where the actual word comes from. There's no concrete origin as to where it could have possibly come from. But there are a few theories. Some say that it is a manipulation of the phrase, be fake. Which, yeah, pretty much on the nose. Be fake. K, there's shared letters in there, I'm sure. Another theory suggests that the word originates from the expression keep cavey, which is derived from the Latin verb caveo, which means look out for. The phrase was used throughout Britain and by Jewish people living in East London between World War I and World War II. Many of the original United States wrestling promoters were of Eastern European descent, with heavy accents, leading the term keep cavey to become kayfabe, what we know today. Because as we know, it started off in the sideshows. You had all these butch people in their underwear in the early 1900s putting on, quote-unquote, real fights. It's pretty much the precursor to modern-day mixed martial arts. But the key thing was that the ending of the match, and more often than not a couple of sequences within said fight, were predetermined, laid out before the match even happened, and the winner was decided beforehand in a way of creating a story within a wrestling environment. I don't know if they had rings back then, but whatever the pantheon was in which they performed, it was generally agreed that they were predetermined victories.
That's interesting. So since the dawning of time...
Since the beginning, everyone has known it's bullshit. However, in the days, we didn't have the internet back then. So we couldn't just fucking go onto what we call the dirt sheets. Which is a weird term when you really think about it. What is a dirty sheet?
Back then they had the pamphlets.
Right, yes. So there was very little room for it to be debunked. There weren't many people who were being like, by the way, guys, did you know they're not actually hitting each other? But we'll get to those fucking, whatever you want to call them, those people who believe all of that shit later. For now, we are in what people tend to call a neo-kayfabe era, wherein everyone knows what wrestling is. Everyone knows that it's bollocks. Everyone knows that it's predetermined.
Wow.
Everyone knows...
Wow.
Sorry, did you not know that?
I didn't know that.
You had no idea. I had no idea that Daniel Bryan isn't a real person.
It's still real to me, Evan.
What do you mean Doink the Clown isn't really a real clown, not named Matthew? Jesus Christ. So yeah, breaking news, folks. None of this is real.
Wow.
But that's the thing. People outside of the wrestling bubble don't seem to realize that everyone within that wrestling bubble also knows it. That's why you get people who be like, did you know it's fake? Did you know none of it's real? I'm more intellectually superior than you because I realize that this television show isn't actually real. Let me go and watch Game of Thrones instead.
Because that's real.
Right? It is fake. We know that. Everyone knows that. If you fucking look at the fucking thing, like, they don't actually, like... Doink the Clown isn't a real thing. The Undertaker is not a real person, right? Even the ones that are more grounded in reality. Seth Rollins. He doesn't actually go around being like, ha 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 ha!
It'd be hilarious if he did, though.
It would be hilarious if he did. However, these are all fucking fictional characters that are portrayed by real athletic people. There's a taboo around calling them athletes, but really that is what they are. Because even if the match result is predetermined, even if all of the spots in between are planned, you still need to be athletic and in shape and an athlete in order to do it convincingly. Because when you're not in shape, or when you're old, or when you're really young and you don't know what the fuck anything is, it doesn't look convincing. It doesn't look real. Which is pretty much the entire basis of the fucking thing. It's a suspension of disbelief. It's like in Game of Thrones, or in any TV show for that matter, right? Any fictional television show. You have something that's being presented in the show's universe as being, you know, part of that universe. You don't get, I don't know, Emilia Clarke, who plays Daenerys, being like, "Hi guys, my name's Amelia, by the way. Did you know none of this is real?" Because that's where the problem comes in. You watch this to get away from reality. You don't want to know that this is all just made up and bullshit, right?
Yeah, like...
That's one of the appeals of the whole fucking thing.
I made this point in an article that I did, that never actually got released. Like, you literally don't watch... No one watched The Walking Dead and was like, "Hi, I'm Rick Grimes, but my name is actually Andrew Castle."
Lincoln.
And none of these fucking... Andrew Lincoln. Who's Andrew Castle? I don't know.
Different person.
That's not me. That's a different person. And also, zombies are not real. Anyway... fight the zombies. Like, it's not how...
Anyway, Carl! They're in the woods!
Like, I know we're going to eventually get to Russo and Cornette, but...
there's a lot to go in with this. Basically, we've defined what kayfabe is. We know wrestling's fucking fake. It's a fake shit. We know they're not actually hitting each other. That's one thing that they always say that pisses me off, right? They're not actually hitting each other. Okay. Good.
They are and they're not.
I'm fucking glad that they're not actually putting each other through fucking physical, like, torture in the form of combat. There's a place for that. It's called UFC.
Which is really good, so go watch
the
them.
fucking MMA thing. So,
yeah.
That's also the problem in that both of these things exist at the same time and, weirdly, are now both owned by the same company.
Yeah, that don't make no sense.
This is an actual real contest where real fighters are punching each other in the face for real with the intent of knocking them out. And versus, you have wrestlers doing more acrobatic and athletic things that are not meant to be based in any form of reality, but they have to treat it as if it is, because it makes for a compelling show.
Yeah,
otherwise,
that's the thing.
It's just boring.
With sport as a whole, you run the risk of it not being entertaining because it's a competition. It's a quote-unquote legitimate competition. So you do then run the risk. Because I've seen UFC fights, football matches, Formula 1 races that have just been absolute shit to watch. Because they're boring as fuck. Either because one person is just beating the living piss out of this other person, or nothing is going on. Like, that's the thing is, okay, if you watch a legitimate sport, you then run the risk of that thing being extremely fucking tedious. In theory, wrestling and professional wrestling shouldn't ever be like that, because this thing has actually been choreographed in a way for me to be entertained. That's the difference. They're both forms of entertainment. One is a gamble, and one should be entertaining. That's why this fucking podcast exists, because when it's not entertaining, it's even more of a fucking insult because you actually wrote the fucking thing and choreographed this thing, and it's shit. Whereas in sport, you just go, fuck it, Man City beat Norwich 55-0. Fuck it, who cares? But with this, it's like, you actually planned it out to be like this. Why did you think this would be good? Why did you think this match was going to be good? This wrestling contest, you fucking...
Well, this is what happens
belt.
when you... Generally, wrestlers within the universe, it's known that it is fake, but you can't ever acknowledge that. Because when you do, it ruins the fucking thing.
Yeah, but fake
And there
is
are
not the correct
plenty
word.
of examples of this. There
Fake
are
ain't the
people
right
who have done
word.
this. Go on.
Fake is stupid. Fake is dumb. Fake is the dumbest word. Like, I choreographed.
Predetermined is the word we all use, right?
Yeah, and like fake creates the illusion that a bump doesn't.
Everything's
hurt.
fake. Everything on TV is fucking fake.
Well, yeah, like I didn't realize Harry Potter was a fucking documentary.
Not
Like,
even that. Reality television.
not real. Bollocks. Fake.
But it's a very similar thing though. Basically, reality TV has its own version of kayfabe, because they have to present Love Island as if it's actually like a real thing, and not it's entirely fucking produced, micromanaged, edited fucking product. Right?
Can you imagine if a zombie turned up in Love Island? People are like, what the fuck is this, bro?
I'd actually watch it.
Well, yeah. But the other thing as well is, right? Different thing. Succession. I've never seen it, but apparently it's one of the most popular shows of all time. Could you imagine a dragon flying around in that? Probably not. So there is like a level of canon. And I think wrestling has its own canon. And I think that's the
Thing is though,
the thing.
with
It
wrestling
has its own
in particular,
laws.
they can stray from a realistic basis. It's part of the appeal of it. This is why The Undertaker was so successful for 30 years. This is why you also have characters like Kane, Bray Wyatt. You have these people that are clearly not fucking real people, but in the context of this television program, where they are presented as a legitimate person, it's entertaining. Like, who doesn't want to see the fucking undead wizard fight a guy who raises his eyebrow? Who doesn't want to see the undead wizard with a fucking cult following him fight a beer-swilling redneck who beats up his boss every week?
Who doesn't want to see a guy who's obsessed with fire beat the shit out of his brother who's
The undead
dad
wizard.
is a pallbearer? Like, who doesn't want to watch this shit? What's wrong with you?
Apparently, I mean, don't get us twisted, alright? If you know us, you know, or if you know Andy at least, you fucking know. When they do it good, it's done really entertainingly.
Yes.
However, when it is done poorly,
It is awful.
it's some of the worst shit to have ever graced planet Earth.
But it's the same with TV shows, though. Like,
Oh, yeah.
have you watched The Walking Dead? Like, the last couple of series? Fuck off. That show is arse. That show is just hot fucking garbage.
I
Like,
stopped at season 3, and I don't regret doing that now.
Oh, Christ. It just goes from bad to worse. You just go, why is this still a thing? Why does this still exist? And I don't know what that fucking tangent was, but basically...
Well, no, longevity is an important thing, because as
Yeah.
we know, World Wrestling Entertainment has been going on for 43 years.
87 years.
Longer than that, even.
15 million years.
It's the what is it? What is Monday Night Raw? The longest
Yes.
episodic weekly television program in
The
history?
longest weekly episodic television show.
Whatever
in
fucking
history,
modifiers they
well,
throw on that, I don't fucking know. But either way, even in like the 80s, they tried to at least maintain this. They don't do it anymore. They tried to maintain kayfabe by having the heroes and the villains, the heels and the faces travel separately. Like, they weren't able to be seen together. Like, they won't be able to be seen in public, eating, traveling, anything like that. Because if paparazzi were to take photos of, say for example, Roddy Piper and whoever he was feuding at the time, being buddy-buddy on an airplane together,
like Hogan or something.
you wouldn't care. Yeah, you wouldn't care about the feud that they were having on television. Because you want to watch something that is, quote-unquote, real.
Which is
And
a bit
one of
bizarre, because...
the most famous instances, like, well, who was it? Jim Duggan and the Iron Sheik.
Yes.
They were caught together doing cocaine in a car, right?
Nice.
But they were feuding at the time. So, why are they doing drugs together? Why is this a thing? It upset people at the time.
Because they're looking to help diplomatic relations between Iran and America and Colombia.
Through cocaine, yes.
With cocaine, see?
Exactly. Totally realistic. But then, good old Vinnie Mac himself, Vince McMahon, is considered to be the first major figure inside the business to acknowledge the idea that it is entirely not real.
Have some fake fun, damn it.
With the New Jersey State Senate Athletic Commission and all of that stuff. It was for a couple of reasons. It was to avoid interference from the state athletic commissions in the television programming and stuff. Taxation that was placed on income from athletic events held within certain states. And avoiding the need to meet the requirement of having medical professionals standing by, which was mandatory for combat sports with a risk of injuries being sustained within those sports.
So, it is carny as shit, is basically that statement.
Well, yeah. It literally started in carnivals. Tax. That's why it's called a carny thing nowadays, is because it started in fucking carnivals as a sideshow attraction.
But this is, literally the most capitalist fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Literally, we will avoid tax. We don't even have to have medical staff. Yes, beautiful.
We don't have to tell everyone that we're not actually fighting.
You know what?
By the way, I also own the fucking thing. I'm not just a commentator.
Yeah, it's just like...
That was when Jack Tunney died the first time, right? Because that position was just fucking like, oh, by the way, Vince owns it. Huh?
I thought this Jack Tunney guy owns it.
No, it's Vince. How weird. It'd be like now if Byron Saxton came out as the fucking owner of a company. It's like, what? No, he's commentary man. He does commentary. What are you saying?
So following that, wrestling's always been in a neo kayfabe sense, with real life playing a part in the scripted entertainment, for better or for worse.
And that's what I want to talk about now.
Oh.
We live in a state where everyone knows it's fake, everyone knows it's not real. So what do? Sometimes they do it really well. Other times they do it incredibly bad. They introduce real life, quote unquote, elements. So for example, you have characters who are always, quote unquote, in kayfabe, like MJF. Fuck is that? What are you doing?
That's his song. That's his song.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. Maxwell T. Friedman, also known as Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
That makes more sense. Kayfabe.
Also known as MJF. Also known as MJF. MJF.
That's a favourite thing that I've done in the past few years on the show.
MJF. Because you love sucking his cock, don't you, Andy?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, MJF.
Oh, God, yes.
He's the greatest wrestler in modern history.
Oh, you gotta tickle the balls.
Oh, what?
I don't know. It's been so long.
Anyway, he is, if you know wrestling, you know MJF. If you don't, basically, he's a dickhead.
Oh no, I would describe his character as cunt.
That's the whole thing. Because gone are the days where people in wrestling portray their character both on television and off television. Gone are the days of Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Sergeant Slaughter, Jim Duggan, all of these fucking people. There was no separation between Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea, right? For all intents and purposes, Hulk Hogan was just a person. He wasn't a fictional fucking character portrayed by a guy named Terry, right? But nowadays, everyone knows Roman Reigns is Joe Anoa'i. Everyone knows Seth Rollins is Colby Lopez. Everyone knows Jon Moxley is Jonathan Good. People fucking know
I still can't get over his surname is Good.
I mean, he is very good.
Very good.
If you would ask me how I'd describe Jon Moxley, it would be very good.
Very very good, very nice. Let me cut myself open.
But nowadays, everyone knows wrestlers are portrayed by real people. There's characters. To different extents. Like, aforementioned, John Moxley, not really much difference between him and the guy who plays him, I want to say. It's just, the best wrestling personas have been said to be the performers' personalities turned up to a 10. But then, in comes MJF. MJF, people started to know who he was in around like 2018, 2019. And this was during a time where we had that separation between...
He was on the independent scene in like ZZW and all that kind of...
Yeah, ZZ Top, yeah, that fucking promotion, yeah, brilliant. CZW.
That's what I said, ZZW.
You said ZZW.
CCW.
You said it again.
C...
Yeah.
Z...
Yeah.
W.
Jesus!
Jesus! Z...
It took 5 times for him to say it properly.
CZW, there you go,
Shut
CZW.
the fuck up. Anyway, MJF, he's fucking always in character. There's no off button. He's always a cunt. He's always a dickhead. That's always his fucking thing. He's always a dickhead to interviewers. Good. He's always a dickhead to fans.
Perfect.
He's always a dickhead on Twitter. He's always a dickhead to people in the audience.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'll agree. When he burst onto the scene, it was amazing. Because we didn't have anything like that going at the time. And if anyone did sort of keep kayfabe outside of wrestling, it was portrayed as cringy. Or at the very least, these were people who weren't in the public eye. Like The Undertaker. You never saw Mark Calloway until he fucking retired, right? It was always just The Undertaker.
Like, there's a difference between an undead wizard zombie person and a cunt. Like, I feel like...
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, is that this character that MJF is portrayed in such a way that it is believable that this is just a guy that exists. Like, you don't need any modifiers to him. He's just a dickhead. What are his other characteristic traits? He's proudly Jewish.
He likes Burberry scarves.
He likes scarves.
He has a Tesla, apparently.
He's rich. There's not much to him. But in a sense, sometimes you don't need that much.
Well, yeah. What was Steve Austin? He was just a redneck who liked beer. Like, what more do you want?
What else was The Rock other than an eyebrow and a couple of catchphrases?
Perfect. Job done. The Rock. Like, you don't need anything more. Why do you need more? Less is more. Don't fucking... Just be a knob. You're clearly a knob. Be a knob.
Well... This is what I would have said 2 years ago. But then...
I don't think I'm going to like what you're about to say, but go ahead.
But then, as time progressed on, MJF remained the same. There's a case to be made that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I would argue that his character now is broke. It's broken. Not literally like, yeah, rah.
Although I
would love broken MJF, right?
Hilarious. Oh, I'm not a dickhead, I'm actually very nice!
I am Maxwell Jacob Freeman!
He does like Make-A-Wish stuff, and he's actually a really nice guy. It's like, oh, yeah, everybody have some free candy!
Like, yeah, I'd love that. He just gets hit on the head and he becomes a nice person.
Brilliant! Tony, book that shit, and I want
my name is Tony Khan, and I do not listen to this show because I am busy fucking everything up.
He's not fucking anything up. I don't understand why he... I just take the piss out of his voice because, I don't know, you do it, so...
MJF has been the centre of several controversies over the last few years. Because he's always a dickhead. He doesn't break character. It was endearing when he was giving the middle finger to literal children.
I think that's fucking brilliant still, to this day. I still think it's great.
And it was brilliant when he was being a sexist pig to any female announcer or interviewer that ever interviewed him ever.
Okay, that's not so good. But it makes you hate him. That's the fucking idea.
Okay, alright, okay. Put that comment Just keep it in your pocket.
Alright.
I'd like to take a
I
moment
can
to
see the
actually
list
look
of
at some of the
things,
stuff
so
that
I
he's
might
done.
regret saying this soon, but yes, fine. Keep going.
I want to take a look at some specific instances that involve MJF that have happened. This is stuff that has happened. You can't just hand wave this away by being like, oh, he's always a cunt, what do you expect? Like, no. Let's actually look at some of the things that have happened here.
Yeah.
Okay? It started when he appeared in an interview with Ariel Helwani without the clearance of AEW management.
Yeah, okay.
Bit sketch.
A little bit, because
thing.
Ariel Helwani is
I
the
don't
biggest
care about that
legend.
personally, morally, or anything like that. It's just, why would you go against your employers like that? For no real reason.
I mean, in hindsight, you might have just thought, oh, I don't need clearance. I can just do whatever I want. Why would I need clearance?
Well, maybe. Maybe he thought that, yeah. And then, Double or Nothing 2022 comes along. We know it's very infamous for the following reasons. He no-shows a meet and greet at the fan fest that happened that weekend. He was scheduled to appear for like an autograph signing or something, and he didn't appear. He didn't return any calls from management, and it was rumored that he was leaving the state before the pay-per-view the next day. This is probably ground zero for what MJF is right now. AEW World Champion. This is where it all started. This was during the time where he was feuding with Wardlow. He was about to have the big blow-off match to end the rivalry at Double or Nothing. And that's what happens. After that controversy, everyone thought, oh, will he actually show up? Did he actually fuck off? Is this a shoot? Is this a shoot? Bang, bang, pew, pew, shoot, shoot? Oh, he turns up. Match lasts about 5 minutes, takes 10 power bombs in a row, and is stretched out, and that seemingly writes him off TV. As a way for him to go away and film for a upcoming biopic about the Von Erich family. Because he has a role in that movie. So he couldn't do that and also wrestle once a month. Or even that. He had to leave. So he was stretchered out. And you think, okay, he's gone now. That's him written off. But then, the next day, he cuts his famous promo. Looking like he was a new man. He wasn't selling any of those power bombs. He didn't look injured at all. He just came out in a dress shirt and told Tony Khan to go fuck himself, basically.
I feel like that is the fault of the booking. If they had known that this was going to happen, they shouldn't have written him off.
Well, this is where kayfabe starts to become blurry. We don't know what was planned and what wasn't. We don't know if it was ever planned for him to no-show that media appearance. We don't know if that was actually a thing that happened, and then they turn it into what they call a worked shoot, where, within the wrestling world, it appears to be he's breaking the script, quote-unquote, but it was actually scripted for him to break the script in the first place. It's what we call a worked shoot. It's a fucking headache, I know, but we're going to look into more examples of that later. He cuts the promo, he says, "Fire me, Tony Khan, you fucking mark." Everyone applauded, and then he went away for 3 months, during which he filmed his scenes for the Von Erich film. Then he came back as the devil.
Oh, the devil, the devil.
Stupid mask. Oh, Lord, the devil.
Oh, the devil,
Lord, the
Lord.
devil. Oh, Lord. He sets himself up into the AEW title picture. He fucking wins the whole thing, and then blah, blah, blah. All Out happens. We'll get to that later. Other things he has done since then. Constantly teases leaving AEW for going to WWE when his contract expires in 2024.
I don't see what the issue with that is.
Pouring tequila over a child in the audience.
Not good.
Smacking an audience member in the face.
Okay, that's not good.
Constantly smacking phones out of the hands of fans that record him.
Well, if you're a fan and you're recording MJF, I mean, for fuck's sake, you should know by now that's not a good idea.
Not a good excuse.
I know, it's not, but...
For something that could result in a lawsuit, like physical assault.
Yeah,
He literally smacked a fan in the fucking face. On television.
Well,
in front of thousands of people.
Why is Tony not saying to the guy, look, I get it, but you need to calm it down. This ain't the indies anymore. You can't get away with this. I don't want to get sued. You don't want to get fucking sued. Just chill with this a little
This
bit.
is the problem I have with the character now. It's going too far for the sake of cheap heel heat, which is in abundance with other characters in wrestling who aren't doing this egregious fucking shit.
Like Christian Cage
It's
is
a problem. Christian Cage, for fuck's sake. Look at him. He's saying words. He doesn't have to go into the front row and assault an audience member. He just has to say he wishes Jungle Boy's entire family was dead, just like his dad.
Jesus Christ. But I think...
It's brilliant. You have heels in the WWE who are getting more organic heat. Look at Dominic Mysterio. World's biggest coward and whipped little sub boy. People fucking hate him. And it works. It doesn't matter if it's real or if it's not. We all know that he's not in an actual relationship with Rhea Ripley. We fucking know that. However, do we care? No.
Do we wish we were the Subway? Yes. So...
You had to get that in, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
But my point with MJF is, he goes too far over the line. I draw the line at assaulting fans. Right? I didn't like it when CM Punk did it that one time. I don't like it when MJF does it now.
Well,
I don't like it in general. It almost happened to me once in a very light way, right? The only ever wrestling show I ever attended was a Progress show. This is back in 2016. I was near the front row. So I was near enough in like what I like to call the splash zone.
Yeah.
For reasons you're about to find out.
Yeah.
There was a wrestler at the time. Not going to bother naming him because he retired and he's not important anymore anyway. He comes out and he spits water into the audience. And I don't mean from like a distance, from the ring, from like a barricade. No barricade. Just straight up spits in people's face. I got some of it. Or some of it went on me. Because it was to the guy who was like in front of me, next to me. So that fucking sucked. And then when he gets in the ring, they throw the bottle back at him, and then they're like, "Oh no, you can't do that. You can't possibly assault the wrestler. He's just playing a character. He's just doing his fucking job." That's why I take you like, "Oh yeah, he's a character. That's what he does for heat. What do you expect?" No, fucking bullshit. There's a way for you to get heat without resulting in fucking with the audience. You don't do that. It's something that really pisses me off whenever that fucking happens, because it just shows to me that you've run out of ideas. It shows to me that you lack the creativity to try and find a way to get yourself over with an audience. You're just doing the bare bones fucking boring bollocks. Except this time, instead of insulting a local sports team, you're actually harming other people. And I think that's not okay.
I'm in two minds with this conversation. So this worked on the indies because it's an indie and there's not a lot of options to get over. I mean,
but I don't think getting yourself over is justification for doing all of these things.
No,
I think that's a bollocks reason.
But it is pushing it too far in terms of, like, ripping up somebody's sign, fair enough, or swearing at a fan, fair enough. But I think when you start, like, assaulting people and shit, you pushed it too far. And
the problem with this is that whenever MJF does this, people fucking love it. They fucking applaud it. It's like, "Oh yeah, he hit me, he acknowledged me, oh, he's so over, oh, I hate him, but I love him." It's creating an unhealthy environment. It's making it okay for wrestlers to fuck with fans like that. No, you don't fucking do that. They're making it worse by applauding him for doing these things. By wanting MJF to smack him in the face. Like, it doesn't, it's getting the fans over by being like, "Oh, I'm the guy that MJF hit in the fucking face." Like, no. Shut up. This isn't the way it's supposed to be done. I've cited examples. There's better ways of getting your character over as a villain, as a character to be booed, rather than literally fucking with the audience. It just shows that there's no creativity there anymore.
And it's not as if he's not a charismatic guy that he can
We
clearly
know this. We know MJF is. I mean, granted, I've been an outspoken critic of him recently. I'll give him this. This storyline that they're doing with Adam Cole at the moment, the tag team partner storyline, finally, a breath of fresh air. Something new and something different. I mean, granted, it's not new and different in the grand scale of wrestling storylines.
But MJF.
Or it was the first thing MJF ever did, was with Cody Rhodes, right?
Oh, yes.
But I'll take this over fucking, oh, you must complete a series of challenges in order to face me. Which he's done at least 4 fucking times now in a row. I'm very happy that we're now breaking away from that shit.
Yeah, thank Christ.
And I will say he is charismatic. He is a good wrestler. He's a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Yes, I fucking know this. I know this by looking at his matches. But it's not an excuse for assaulting fans.
Yeah, that's
and
wrong. Being
a dickhead to management. Just because I've said this before, I don't give a fuck if you're unhappy with your contract. That has no bearing on your character on television. Because when you start referencing that shit, it's when you get into the WCW levels of fucking just, why are you even bothering to highlight this? This isn't Succession. This isn't a show about wrestling contracts. It's a show about wrestlers having fights in a fucking squared circle. I don't care that you're unhappy with the amount of money you're receiving. It has no bearing on the fucking product. So why are you constantly fucking lampshading that, oh, when my contract expires, I may go to WWE. So no, it doesn't appeal to me. I don't get it, and I don't approve of it.
I think there's 2 other things here. The actual character of MJF, I feel like COVID didn't help. Because I feel like MJF would have been world champion sooner had the world not gone to shit. But that aside, this is... When you call it WCW, bruv, the contract thing is nowhere near Russo WCW.
No. I'm not saying it's an equal level at all. I'm just saying we're venturing further closer to that territory.
We are nowhere near it, though.
I know we're nowhere near it, but we're getting there.
Okay. When we get there, then
trust me, when we talk about WCW stuff later, that is egregious and fucking dumb, and no wonder that company fucking died.
Well, here's the other thing, right? So, the next part of everything is the all-out incident that happened.
Yeah, this whole fucking thing. This whole thing of, like, the kayfabe of within wrestling versus the real-life drama that has impacted the quality of the wrestling show with which these people are involved with. I'll let you take a history retrospective on this.
Yeah, do we have to go into the actual thing that happened? Because I feel like...
Well, just go over the facts. Just go over the facts that have been made apparent over the last few months.
Okay, so TLDR, CM Punk goes off on one during the post-event media scrum at All Out last year. He clarified his position with Colt Cabana. He criticised the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page with insults, after which a legit fight broke out between Punk, Bucks, Omega and Ace Steel. All involved in the fight were suspended, stripped of their championships and not referenced on AEW TV. The Elite have returned in November, eventually winning back the titles that were vacated, which they were champions of. CM Punk then returned this year after 9 months, cutting a promo representing the Young Bucks, and anyone who expected an apology from him, he said, "I'm sorry that the only people softer than you are your favourite wrestlers." Ace Steel was then fired after the fight, but then rehired this year to work as a producer for CM Punk's segments. And there's been a legal precedent which prohibits anyone involved within the altercation from speaking about it in a public setting, which has now led to, and I'm just adding to this, Sam, which has now led to Punk trying to be a babyface, but everyone is fucking booing him.
Is he trying to be a babyface?
I don't. I think he. I think they're gonna give up.
I'm
soon.
sorry that the only people softer than you are your favorite wrestlers.
I think he thinks he can still be a babyface and say shit like this and
No,
get nuclear.
no, I don't think so. Even his match with Kojima at Forbidden Door, he was definitely the heel in that environment.
Well, they need to go full blown heel with it because I don't get the heel vibe from Punk. I get the vibe that it's like almost Cena level of.
That's what I was gonna say. He's become everything that he hates, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Right.
So either go full blown heel or fuck off. That's basically where we're at.
I think he is definitely full blown heel, but you know, when he was in Chicago, of course he's gonna get fucking cheered, right?
Yeah, but it's like when Maxwell is in wherever the fuck he's from. You know what I mean?
Long
He gets
Island.
cheered. Yeah, that's it. So like, if you're in your hometown, you're getting cheered. But
Then when he went to Canada, the home of Kenny Omega, a guy who he actively fucked with, he was booed out of the building.
they need to do something because basically, I mean, I haven't seen this past week's Dynamite yet, and I was going to watch it after this, so I don't know what happens on it. But like,
Well, what I wanted to talk about was the kayfabe relationship that we had with that brawl out incident in regards to the television product. Because if we do what we are supposed to do, right? If we take the wrestling universe, of which AEW, Dynamite, Rampage, Dark, all that shit, all of that happens in one universe, right? If we remove that from what actually happened in reality with the fight and everything, the Elite win the 6-man tag team championships, become inaugural champions. CM Punk beats Jon Moxley to become AEW World Champion. MJF is set up to challenge CM Punk. But then on the Dynamite following, CM Punk is gone, the Elite are gone, and both of them are stripped of the championships which they had just won, with no explanation in kayfabe as to why they were gone or why they had been stripped. Eventually, the Elite start running vignettes of them being like edited out of AEW, which was like a reference to the fact that they were suspended and not mentioned on television.
yeah,
But who, why, if you don't know anything of what happened backstage, those vignettes don't make sense. None of this makes sense.
and it wasn't.
It was never explained in kayfabe why the championships were vacated. There was no reason given, ever, at any point. You were just expected to infer that what happened in reality now has a bearing on the wrestling storyline. Which betrays the rules of what we're trying to do here, surely. Because I don't understand, like, if they gave a kayfabe reason, if they were like, oh, they got elevated liver enzymes and they had to go away for a while, like, I don't know, some dumb shit, right?
I forgot all about that.
Because that was what happened in, like, 2006, right?
Yeah. Oh, everyone apparently has elevated liver enzymes. Oh, what a coinky dink.
So, if they gave an actual reason in kayfabe as to why they were stripped, I would be like, okay, this isn't as bad. But they didn't. They were just fucking gone, and then they just came back. It's never said, and still to this day, to my knowledge, it has never been disclosed in the kayfabe storyline why they went away.
But I don't think it's like a kayfabe issue. I think it's literally just the lack of explanation. Like, there's no sort of.
If they acknowledged in kayfabe that they all got into a legitimate fight after the media scrum, then yeah, I agree, that's fine.
Yeah, they should have just done that and gone, because they put on these media scrums, and part of them, I mean,
the media scrums are a headache from a kayfabe point of view as well, because some people don't act like they're in kayfabe at all, and some of them fucking do.
Yeah, Jericho came out in one of them. And...
Oh yeah, Jericho came out and accidentally busted open a member of the fucking pressers by launching a water bottle at his head 60 miles an hour with a baseball bat.
But
before in other scrums, he's been out of character, quote unquote, and he's been talking like Chris Irvine or whatever his fucking name is.
Yeah, but they moved the storyline forward, and so he's like, well, okay, so.
So is this part of the thing or not? Is this kayfabe or is this not? This is why I enjoy the WWE versions of these post-event media scrums. it most clearly copied from AEW because they never did it before AEW started doing it, right?
Well, yeah.
But I've watched them, and with people like Roman Reigns, it's they don't just shit on kayfabe. It's not Joe out there, you know? This is Roman Reigns, who is talking like from a storyline perspective about being in the wrestling business.
My name is Joe.
It's slightly better. My name Joe is slightly better than my name Jeff. Right? There's a weird relationship with kayfabe there, and it's just a fucking headache because, and we know this, I've vocalized this before, throughout the entire 9 months of this was fucking happening, I was sick and fucking tired of it. I was tired of the fucking backstage drama. It won an award at the end of your awards, for fuck's sake. Like, it's just, you have wrestling, you have the product, and then you have whatever the fuck goes on outside of it. I'm of a belief that you should keep them separate unless it results in a banger of a television storyline. One famous example I could think of being Edge versus Matt Hardy in 2005.
I mean, there's been quote-unquote worked shoots, which you've listed, so I'm going to read these now.
Great.
CM Punk's Pipe Bomb promo.
They're also really good.
Joey Styles' promo, where he left to then go to ECW.
I thought, yeah, okay, that's a means to an end, sure.
John Cena versus Roman Reigns. They had a promo, and
that infamous promo that basically fucking ruined Roman when he was trying to get his stock built up, and yeah, that was a weird time to be in.
Jerry the King Lawler against Andy Kaufman.
It was before my time. But it's one of the most famous things. It was back when kayfabe was fucking real, right? These Andy Kaufman, the comedian, versus Jerry Lawler, the wrestler. They supposedly had legitimate fights on talk shows. Like, everyone believed that they were actually beefing for realsies. But it was all planned from the start.
Yeah, this was, if you've seen the movie Man on the Moon?
If you believe.
They put Jerry Lawler and pile drive Andy Kaufman on the moon. I didn't go on the moon. That would be fucking brilliant, though.
A power driver on the moon? That sounds sick.
That sounds great. But yeah, so when it's done right, hooray! When it's done wrong, then yeah. So shall we go through famous kayfabe breaking instances?
Well, yeah, famous kayfabe breaking instances. This is where reality shat all over the fucking wrestling product in an irreversible way. I'd argue for worse with a lot of these things because there's that rule. You maintain a separate reality, a suspension of disbelief. So when you start including real life shit in it, it breaks down why we're even watching this for entertainment, to get away from reality.
You're going to hear my opinion soon, and you're not going to like it. But here is some famous kayfabe breaking instances. So the curtain call incident, the clique of Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Paul Levesque, all four members embraced in front of the audience. Hall and Nash were leaving to go to WCW. Shawn Michaels was the WWF champion, so Triple H took the brunt of the punishment, which earned him respect backstage, but he was, within kayfabe, fucked for a year, at least.
I think he won the Intercontinental title like 6 months afterward.
I thought he had to do a load of shitty things first.
Well, he did mostly like fight no names and jobbed out to a couple of people, but
like the Ultimate Warrior.
I think a year after that he won King of the Ring, so
yeah,
it wasn't that bad. And plus, it's Triple H. He's Triple H, for fuck's sake. He's fine.
Well, we didn't know that at that time he would become Triple H.
Oh, no one knew at that time, but yeah, as we were saying, Hall and Nash left for WCW. Shawn Michaels, you couldn't punish him because he was the champion. Sean Waltman wasn't there. So all of the punishment, all of the irate things of breaking kayfabe, because I don't know which were which, but it was a mix of babyfaces and heels all hugging each other.
I think Triple H was a heel.
Yeah.
Scott was a heel. I could have that completely wrong. But basically,
it makes more sense, doesn't it? Michaels and Diesel, I suppose, would be faces. So. But yeah, basically, they weren't meant to be shown on television. It wasn't even on television. It was at a fucking... It was at a house show,
but
wasn't
it was recorded and it got leaked.
Yeah, two people in the audience recorded it, and then the tabloids got hold of it, like, oh, look, it's fake, it's fake. So, the only person who could really take any punishment was Triple H. And as, thankfully, we have the benefit of history to know that he turned out okay.
Here's another one that didn't turn out okay. Mass transit incident in ECW. A 17-year-old lies to Paul Heyman about his in-ring age and experience. He was booked against New Jack, and two of this kid's arteries were then severed during the match. Lawsuits were involved.
Yeah, it was really bad. And then he died like a few years afterward because he was just morbidly obese. Tragic story, really. But, yeah, ECW. What a famous breeding ground for shit like this, right? I mean, mass transit is a famous one because there exists video of New Jack basically blading and cutting open this 17-year-old child, right? But, Jesus Christ, that was bad.
Victory Road 2011. A drugged out Jeff Hardy ruins the main event against Sting for the world title with Eric Bischoff calling a audible in front of the live crowd.
It's so interesting looking at the documentaries behind this. I mean, I wasn't really involved in wrestling at this point. I think you were. So, What was your reaction when this actually happened?
Fuck's sake. Why? Like, literally, it was like just a fuck's sake all round. Like, fuck's sake, why did they let him go out there? Fuck's sake, Jeff Hardy is just fucking high as a kite. Fuck's sake, the world title match is 30 seconds. Fuck's sake, this is a pay-per-view that people paid for. I mean, I think we got it for free in the UK on Challenge TV, so we didn't give a shit. But, like, if I paid tickets to see this event or paid for a fucking pay-per-view, I would have been fuming. Because it's Sting and Jeff. That was like a dream match, and Jeff was no condition to perform. Apparently, no one could find him all day, and then he just appeared, and everyone was like, is he alright? And he just fucking walked out. But...
And because Dixie Carter wasn't around backstage, fucking Eric Bischoff had to basically decide what to do. And like, yeah, okay, the guy who was in WCW, sure, I give it to him, he's gonna come up with something, at least. But what the fuck, man, it's infamous for a fucking reason, and I'll say this again for the 5th time in as many years, I hope Jeff Hardy has learned his lesson. Until he gets another fucking DUI, in which case he clearly fucking hasn't.
Daniel Puder versus Kurt Angle in 2004. The tough enough contestant, Daniel Puder, who is a legitimate MMA fighter, took on the challenge issued by Kurt Angle. He was supposed to beat up by Kurt Angle in an embarrassing fashion, but instead, because he's a legit fighter, he put Angle in a Kimura and almost broke his arm.
Were you watching at the time?
Yes.
And what was this like?
It was awkward to watch, because basically what happens is when he gets him in the Kimura, do you know what the Kimura is?
It's like the arm lock, right?
Yeah. Basically, both of Puder's shoulders were down, and the refs like, oh shit, and 1, 2, 3, and just count really fast. And then they both get up, and Angle just starts like shouting at him. And
yeah, pissed.
This got him like nuclear heat, because he nearly broke Kurt Angle's fucking arm. And
I think there's faults on both sides here. Like,
well, yeah.
Why would you ever make this situation happen?
And the other thing
why would you expect Daniel Puder, the MMA fighter who doesn't know wrestling, why the fuck would you expect him to know how to work? Like, of course he's gonna go fucking full MMA. When Kurt Angle tries to fuck him up, he's gonna try and defend himself. And the way he did it made everyone look like fucking shit. Made Daniel Puder look like shit because, he doesn't know how to fucking wrestle. Made Kurt Angle look like shit because, he nearly got his arm broken by a fucking guy who doesn't know how to wrestle. Made Vince look like an asshole for making the entire fucking thing exist in the first place. Like, Jesus Christ, what was the point in that?
I have no ungodly idea. It was just daft. I mean, he ended up winning that Tough Enough.
Yeah, but no one knows who he is now.
No one's got any fucking clue.
His most famous incident is this.
Yeah. I mean, he fought in Strikeforce after this, but that's it. And he was undefeated. I think he's retired since. So why the fuck would you try and do this with an actual MMA? Ugh, stupid.
That's what happens when you blend MMA and wrestling. More often than not, it's fucking disastrous for kayfabe. Looking at you, Ronda Rousey.
Okay, here's there's one more, but it's the Montreal Screwjob. Yeah, Brett didn't tap out, blah, blah, blah. Who cares?
More famous Montreal Screwjob. Brett was meant to fucking... What was he? He was meant to win, but then he was leaving the company.
I think they agreed a DQ finish.
Yeah, but then they betrayed that. They made him fucking get him the sharpshooter. He didn't tap out, but they made it seem like he tapped out. Everyone... That, I think, is the basic, like, wake-up call for everyone who didn't yet realize at the time that this was all fucking bollocks. They saw this happen and they were like, oh shit.
Well,
what happened there?
For me, it's funny that you mentioned mixing boxing and MMA with wrestling. For me, the part where it just went too far was the Brawl for All tournament.
Yeah, I did want to include this, but I don't really have much knowledge about it, so
okay,
I'll let you take about this one.
Back in the day, in the 90s, because I'm old now, there was a concept that was created called Brawl for All. And the idea was you're going to get wrestlers actually box. So actually punch each other for realsies.
Was this a Vince Russo idea?
It was.
Yep.
Now, it was brought up in Dark Side of the Ring. They had like an entire episode on it, which I would thoroughly recommend. Basically, Russo was like, well, he heard about UFC and he heard about the rise of boxing with like Tyson and stuff, and he was like, right, JBL said he can kick the shit out of anyone, let's just have them fight each other for realsies. And Jim Cornette said, look, this is fucking stupid. Why the fuck? So one, you're going to have them fight each other for real. So what the fuck is the other shit we put on? Two...
Yeah, this wasn't like an isolated event. This was like a singular portion of a full 2-hour Raw, right?
Yeah, this went on for months. So
yeah.
like, so okay, so what the fuck's this other shit we're putting on? The other thing is they're now getting hurt for realsies because there's training and for show versus basically UFC. Like you're now hurting people. You're gonna ruin people's careers because it's like my initial thing when I said at the start, like legit sport is a gamble because unlike wrestling, you can orchestrate stuff where you know that you can push someone. With a real sport, you're leaving it in the hands of God. You're leaving it in the hands of fucking nature. Fucking you got no control over it. You don't know what the fuck's going on. You're just the MMA gods will go, Conor McGregor will lose to Dustin Poirier. Fuck you, Dana, you cunt. Like, literally, like...
Ronda Rousey will lose to Holly Holm. Fuck you,
exactly.
Your cash cow is now gone.
You're leaving this in...
CM Punk will not win an MMA fight ever, actually.
So, here's the thing, right? Both are wrong. But both are
both
right.
What? Both what?
So, Russo's like, well, who gives a shit? Everyone knows it's fake. Cornette's like, well, no, there needs to be a level of kayfabe. We need to, like you've been arguing this entire episode, like, you need to, like, keep some sort of level of kayfabe.
I should clarify, though. I feel like that has an asterisk next to it, right?
Yeah, okay.
Because, as I've said before, you can include real-life shit if it makes the product better.
And if it makes sense.
And if it makes fucking sense.
Which
I referred to Edge versus Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Because I would argue, all personal relationships aside, they all seem to be doing fine nowadays. It worked for the company. It was a draw. Everyone was looking at this shit, being like, oh my god, how are they going to have a wrestling match? Are they actually going to fucking kill each other? Like, it was a spectacle. People love personal drama. It's a crux of the fucking, like, human brain, for whatever reason. People love to see legitimate beef between others. They don't want it themselves, but they will happily relish in other people sleeping with each other's partners and then pretending to wrestle, whereas actually they were just beating the piss out of each other at SummerSlam, right? And there was the whole thing of like, oh, Matt Hardy's fired, but he came out he referenced Ring of Honor. He said John Laurinaitis' name. It's like, what the hell? This is different. This is actually well-produced drama. However, when you have Ronda Rousey, quote-unquote, going off the script, when you have Bill Goldberg, quote-unquote, going off the script in WCW against fucking Steiner and whoever the fuck,
Kevin Nash.
it was bad. Yeah. It was yeah, no wonder that fucking company died less than a year after that whole thing happened.
Well,
and yeah, no wonder Ronda Rousey's stock has fucking tanked so much, she can't do anything higher than the women's tag division nowadays.
Well, the thing is,
so
Russo's...
it's like, there has to be a line there.
Well, yeah.
This is wrestling, for fuck's sake. This isn't UFC. This isn't real. Everyone knows that. You're making it look bad if you do the shit like what MJF is doing sometimes. That's my point.
Russo's counterpoint with that would be, well, things like championships and stuff, they're not real. They're just like props. They're not
but
real.
We know that, but we keep it in the universe because that's the point. That's what wrestling is. Wrestling is championships. Wrestling is predetermined competition. But you're not meant to know that it's predetermined, because this storyline between the two people, why they're fighting, how they got into this conflict, how they're going to resolve this conflict, it's like the Bloodline story. We know that they're all fucking chummy and hanging out backstage and giving each other blowjobs, right? But on TV, it's a well-crafted, one of the best crafted wrestling storylines in the last 10 years. How can you not understand that you need that separation?
Well, it's not...
Wrestling needs to exist in its own bubble for it to be good.
My argument is not a separation. It's almost like a yin and yang. Like, you need to combine the fucking two together but within the parameters of a law of some sort. That's probably the best way to do it. I find it deeply ironic that Cornette and Russo fucking hate each other, but any time that they work together, like, the stuff that gets produced is great. I mean, because it just goes to show, and it's the same with AEW. You've got characters, like, I don't know, like, you've got a fucking dinosaur, for Christ's sake, called Luchasaurus, but you also have a John Moxley, and you've also, by the same notion, you've got, I don't know, fucking... What's, like, an outlandish character in AEW? Because I was going to say Jungle Boy, but that's probably no longer a thing.
First one that comes to mind is Abaddon.
Exactly! You got an Abaddon, right? But then, at the same time, you got a Jade Cargill. Like, it's a mixture of both things. You can't just separate the two. You can't have full-blown kayfabe anymore, because it doesn't work.
Well,
but then on the same token, you can't just go, well, everything's fake, so who gives a fuck? There is a happy fucking medium, which we basically have been saying. But for Christ's sake, don't push the envelope too far, because one, you start assaulting fans, you start throwing tequila on people, but at the same time, you can't go full-blown kayfabe, because...
Well, I'd argue that you can go full-blown kayfabe. Look at Lucha Underground.
Yeah, where is it now? It doesn't exist.
It didn't fail because it was entirely kayfabe. It failed because as a company it had poor contract management and TV deals. That's why it fucked up.
Yeah, but how many people
the premise of Lucha Underground, of having, like, essentially what is a primetime television drama become a wrestling show, that fucking worked. Season 1 of Lucha Underground is some of the best wrestling that has ever been produced. And it was entertaining. Like, I know Ezekiel Jackson didn't actually fucking die. I know that that's a fake skull in the locker room with a cigar on it. I know that. But I don't care. It's entertaining. It's fun. Like, that's the point of it, is that it's fun. It's an escapist fucking medium. That's why we watch this shit, surely. If you want to watch actual fights, you watch the UFC. You watch boxing, which may or may not be fixed anyway. It's so strange to me that when they try to do this, it either goes extremely fucking well or extremely fucking bad.
Well, it's
Vince Russo has mostly been bad. I'll
oh,
say
yeah,
that.
yeah. And Russo's actually admitted this in the Monday Night War documentary that WWE put out, and I have an exact quote. I just have to find it really quickly. I needed to be in a... This is why he couldn't save WCW. I need to be in a position to succeed. Vince McMahon made me a better writer. Vince put me in a position where I could succeed. And, I'm paraphrasing this part, but he's also admitted that he needed Vince to run his ideas past and through. He couldn't do it on his own, because when he tried to do it on his own, there was no Kayfabe in that era of WCW.
There was David Arquette as world champion
they were
and
talking
Judy
about,
Bagwell on a pole.
They dedicated an entire Nitro episode talking about the creative team. Like, I'm not lying. Like, it's weird. They did a spring break episode. Halfway through that episode, because I've seen it, they were like, Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff are now going to be part of the creative team of WCW. And then this is live on the air. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And literally...
Oh, yeah, not forgetting, Goldberg doesn't follow the script. Remember that, Jem?
Exactly. And with the MJF thing, like, calling...
MJF doesn't follow the script. He goes into the crowd and smacks people for no reason.
There is a... I think, basically, kayfabe as the traditional sense is dead. Now you have
as we've said, it's neo-kayfabe. It's like a weird fucking, like, yin and yang thing of having both the idea that this is a fictional product with real-life influences that will play a part in it.
Well, I think neo-kayfabe's dead at all. I think, basically, it's just some sort of new...
we like to shit on Bray Wyatt, right? And I want to talk about a couple more characters here of, like, what kayfabe is in regards to them. But we shit on Bray Wyatt now, deservedly... then maybe not as deserved, but his commitment to playing these fucking characters that he's been, and yeah, there are photos of him in a gym where he's just, I don't know, Mr. Rotunda, you know? He's not always like The Undertaker, he's not always fucking just really private and secret, right?
But you couldn't get away with that nowadays. Like, that... The biggest issue with kayfabe was social media and the internet. Social media has basically killed kayfabe. Like, you can't get away with The Undertaker... Because for The Undertaker to work nowadays, you would have to wear the fucking face paint and the hat and all that shit 24/7, and it just doesn't work. That's why something like an MJF works a bit better, because you can just be a cunt. Like, that's why Bray Wyatt... Like, being a cunt doesn't require you to wear fucking face paint every 4 fucking seconds of your life to go to Asda's. Like, it's you can just act like a knob, if needs be, to keep the kayfabe alive. The other issue as well is, with Bray Wyatt, well...
Because I want to talk about The Fiend.
Yeah, okay, yeah, fine.
I love the character and the aesthetic of The Fiend. But does it work in a wrestling environment?
Nope.
Not particularly well.
No. I think we said this...
It could have. They could have done stuff to make it work. But they put the championship on him. They did that awful Hell in a Cell match. They gave him to Goldberg and he lost in like 2 minutes.
They
fucked it with the booking.
Oh, that Mountain Dew match still... It makes me...
Oh yeah,
makes me angry.
Match in his most recent environment, like... I will say that we've said it, all of his fucking characters and stuff aesthetically they nail it. They nail it on the fucking head right there. They are enjoyable to look at and to watch, but not in the context of a wrestling match with a pinfall and a bell ringing. There are certain characters who don't work in wrestling, but would work better elsewhere. However, there are certain people who work only within the boundaries of wrestling. And there's 2 names I want to throw out here. And I know what you're gonna fucking do. I know you at this point. Just think about the following name in the sense of a kayfabe wrestling performer, alright?
Okay.
Brock Lesnar. I know you hate him. I know that you don't think he's entertaining at all. I know that you would happily slap him if you saw him in the streets.
Well, you say that, but I don't think I'd get the chance, because I feel like he would eat me.
What I'm saying is that Brock Lesnar, much like a John Moxley, you don't need kayfabe for certain characters. Brock Lesnar is one of those characters. Even before the MMA career, in 2004, I would argue that you didn't even need kayfabe for him back then.
Well, no,
because he is a pure freak athlete with shit tons of strength, speed, and endurance.
I mean, he speaks for himself. I mean,
you could believe that this is a real person that just exists. You don't think that this is a character because he doesn't really have a character.
It's almost as if it's unbelievable that this guy actually exists.
Right. I mean, the closest it will be to him being a character is him being a heel and a dickhead, attacking people, doing all of that stuff in the context of wrestling. But as soon as he's out of that arena, I could believe that he is just like that all of the time. Because it's not like there's no character, it's just that it's almost like his lack of a character is his character. You see it a lot in Japanese wrestling. I think Katsuyori Shibata is probably a key example of that. Is an anti-gimmick, you know? This is just the guy showing up and doing wrestling good, you know? You can give him catchphrases like shoosh and other such entertaining shit, but their core character component is that they wrestle. They do athletic shit very fucking well. And they can back it up.
Yeah, but is that a character?
Brock Lesnar especially.
Because in EWR, that there is a gimmick called No Gimmick Needed. That's literally what it is. It's just wrestling.
Yeah, No Gimmicks Needed, Steve the Samurai.
Yes, that famous character, yes. But
it's not a gimmick. He is a samurai.
But
he is a samurai. He's God, Steve.
This is like a philosophy fucking 101. What is that a gimmick? Is everything a gimmick? Are we gimmicks? What is life?
You were at one point.
I'm not. Am I a gimmick right now?
We were at one point.
I wasn't a gimmick.
We portrayed events that weren't necessarily real, though, didn't we? The storyline.
Oh yes. When Liam, yes, I remember that now. But at the time to be alive, that was
fucking Liam. It was Jesus Christ, he was a character.
Yeah, okay. So
he's not actually a dick, guys. Just so you know.
Wow.
He's actually a wonderful human being.
Yeah, I know. He's actually a very nice man.
But at the time, you would be very hard pressed to say that.
Well, yeah, and I think I don't know.
But anyway, Brock Lesnar, right? You can at least agree with that statement that he doesn't need kayfabe.
I mean, he probably eats kayfabe for breakfast.
I know you don't find him entertaining, so it's probably a bad example.
No, I get it. Someone like John Moxley, Brock Lesnar, Rousey, they don't they just do fight. Ta-da! Bobby Lashley.
Even to a point like Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, just fights. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all. But then again, that in its own right is a gimmick within kayfabe.
It is in the land of a place where you need gimmicks all of the time.
So,
but then there's another name that I also want to throw out and talk about his relationship with kayfabe as well.
This conversation's hurting my head.
One more name. One more name.
Imploding.
I want to talk about Roman.
Oh, God.
Roman Reigns.
No, do we have to?
I mean, this is just going off of the back of a fucking 2-hour-long video essay that Super Eyepatch Wolf posted, but...
Okay.
The key concept of this is that his current character of the Tribal Chief, it takes that weird fucking period for at least 7 years where it was like an unreality situation where Roman was being portrayed as like a big babyface underdog hero, but he was the most hated man in the entire company for that 7 years. Where everyone would just fucking boo him all of the time, regardless of how his character was meant to be portrayed on television.
And that was kayfabe destroying. Like, it was just like...
Yeah, that the audience went into business for themselves, in a way.
Well, no, because I hate that shit. I will bring up the McDonald's analogy, and I will continue...
But it doesn't work! It doesn't work! It doesn't make sense!
That's how this
the McDonald's
fucking
analogy!
works. I'm a paying customer, and if I don't
No, you're not!
Yes, I am!
No, you don't pay for shit!
I do! I pay a ticket! I pay...
No, you don't!
Network at AEW! I fucking pay for shit! I'm paying these fucking...
Okay, so you buy a battery. You buy a battery. Are you with me?
Right, yeah.
You ever bought a battery before? You buy... I don't
Yes,
know, who makes batteries? Energizer.
I buy... What have I got here? Yeah, Energizers, yep.
You buy an Energizer battery, alright? You look at it,
Uh-huh.
and you think, I want a Panasonic battery. Why are you not giving me a Panasonic battery? I paid for this battery. It should be what I want it to be. That's how you sound right now.
No, that's not...
They are
that's
literally,
not,
they're
okay.
presenting you a product
Maybe-
that you're
maybe the analogy
buying,
is- maybe
and
the-
you get mad at them for not being what you want it to be?
Maybe the analogy is not quite right then. Maybe it's not
That's
McDonald's.
what I'm
Maybe it's
fucking
something
telling
else.
you these all fucking years, is that your analogy makes no fucking sense. WWE is not fucking Build-A-Bear. You think it is, but it isn't. It's not like you're going to fucking Build-A-Bear and you want a fucking teddy bear,
Okay,
and
well-
then they give you a mermaid, and you're like, no, I wanted a teddy bear. I bought this with the option of having a teddy bear. And they're like, no, you love mermaids. You're getting a mermaid, damn it.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
But that's not what WWE is.
But that's what it... Yes,
WWE
it
is not a choose-your-own-adventure story.
Yes, it is. Basically, they...
It fucking
they
is
keep
not.
saying- they keep-
You
they
are
always-
insane.
They've always said, we listen to our audience and we do what our audience want us to do. For those 7
When?
years, they
When did they say
clearly
that?
didn't fucking listen at all.
But when do they say that?
In every fucking interview they've ever done.
No, pull up, cite your sources. Pull up an example of when they've said that.
That was like the Stone Cold podcast with Vince, and Vince is like, yeah, we listen to our audience. They've said that for donkey's years.
Oh yeah, they listen to the audience, but that doesn't mean that the audience books the fucking product, does it?
No, but if you listen to the audience, Roman Reigns for 7 fucking years wouldn't have been a fucking face.
You
the whole
can
time.
listen to someone and just fucking ignore them. We
Well, you
do it all the
don't
time.
fucking say you're listening to the fucking audience then if you're not
No,
fucking
listening
going to...
doesn't mean agreeing with them.
Well, that's what they're saying
Listening
they're
doesn't
doing.
mean that you have to fucking do whatever they fucking say.
We are rehashing an old fucking argument. Just it's completely irrelevant now. But my point is that they said that they were listening to the people. They clearly didn't, and it killed kayfabe in the sense that Roman's getting fucking booed out of every fucking building. But they're like, no, you like this guy, cheer him. Well, no, you don't listen to us. So, and eventually they did. They fucking turned him heel, which is just proof.
No, again, I've
I've
always said that a magical heel turn isn't what fixes people. It's
Yes,
good
it
character.
does.
No,
Yes,
no,
it does. It
no.
worked with The
Let me
Rock, it worked
finish.
with Austin.
Let me fucking finish talking. However, what I'm saying is that heel turns sometimes are often paired with better character writing and better character development. That's where you're getting confused. If you don't give a shit about Dolph Ziggler, but then they turn him heel, you're not going to magically give a shit
Okay, fine,
just
yes.
because he's attacking other people.
Which happened
What you
with Roman.
actually care about is character motivation and why they're acting the following way.
And that's what
This is
happened
why
with
Roman Reigns as the tribal chief fucking works. Because he takes that 7 years that everyone was fucking booing him, despite him doing all of the right things, and now he's a manipulative psychopath egomaniac. And it's the best that they've ever done. That's what happens when you have a good character who uses good motivations, and it's explained properly in the form of a narrative. When you have some other fucking characters who just magically turn heel, just go, oh, they're angry now. Oh, no. Someone kicked him in the face and he didn't like it. Oh, no. That doesn't mean it's going to automatically make you give a shit. It has to be well written.
Okay.
It just so happens to be that WWE's bread and fucking butter, apparently, is writing good villains and awful superhero babyface figures.
Okay, here's the thing though, right? If they were listening to their audience, why the fuck didn't they not do that sooner?
Because, again, you're equating listening to following direction.
Yeah, and then, alright, you turn Roman heel before all this happened, and you do a decent storyline with him in it, and good writing and character development. That wouldn't, like, those 7 years...
I'm not going to pretend like they shouldn't have done it sooner.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'm just very fucking happy that they're doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, better late than never, but those 7 years were fucking unbearable. Like, those 7 years were just...
Yeah, they were unbearable because of people like you.
No, they weren't unbearable because of people like me. They're unbearable because people like stubborn cunts like Vince McMahon, who was just like, no, we're going to push him as a babyface. That's the pot calling the kettle a
stubborn cunt, isn't it?
I'm not saying I'm not a stubborn cunt. I'm saying he is. I might be, I don't know.
You both are, that's the problem.
But
that's the entire source of the fucking conflict, is that the audience is stubborn, and they're never going to cheer Roman unless he's different. And then Vince is like, no, he's never going to be different, damn it. He's the future of the company just as he is, pal.
Well, that's why it was unbearable. Because they didn't listen to the audience, which they kept banging on about.
No, it was just bad booking as well. That's not fucking... It was really bad booking. You could have done this in a fucking Thunderdome, and it would have been fucking awful.
I mean, they kind of did, didn't they?
No. What are you talking about?
They turned him, and then...
in the Thunderdome.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, if for that 7 years there was no audience, it would still be shit. Because the character writing wasn't good.
Yeah, but I don't understand. But anyway.
We're agreeing, is what I'm saying.
Oh, good, okay, good. But yeah.
But my point with Roman and relationship with Kayfabe is that the audience fucking ruined it.
No,
justifiably
the audience didn't ruin it. I refuse. I absolutely, completely refuse to agree that the fucking audience ruined it. The audience didn't ruin it. It is an industry where you, and they have done in the past, listen to the audience, because in some ways the only reason and the only way Kayfabe can survive is the audience has to fucking do their part. Like, it's...
Yeah, but if WWE listened, quote-unquote, listened to every single thing that the audience ever wanted, so much iconic and brilliant shit would never have fucking happened.
Yeah, but, like, okay, takes Punk in Chicago, for argument's sake. If you listen to the Chicago fans, you would think Punk is super over. But then if you take the fans in Toronto, you think, well, Punk should be a heel. Well, what they should do, and what happened with Roman, is he was consistently being booed. Consistently. Not just in places where fucking he's from or not from or fucking whatever. In buildings where, quite frankly, it's neutral ground, he was being booed consistently. Well, that's not fucking the fans' fault. You're pushing someone down somebody's throats and completely alienating them from your fucking product, like, and killing Kayfabe at the same time. Because in Kayfabe, this guy is a fucking white meat babyface, but then the fans are like, well, no, there's a conflict there. Granted,
you know who I blame? I blame Daniel Bryan for all of this. If he didn't exist at the same time, it probably wouldn't have been as bad.
Yeah. Fuck you, Bryan.
Yeah, because what I'm saying now is, like, take, for instance, modern day, you have Cody Rhodes. Massive fucking cheers, massive babyface reception, because he's a hero that everyone wants to see. Which is a far cry from his AEW run.
But they did it wrong there as well. They just absolutely...
They did it wrong in AEW as well, yes, but I'm talking about now in WWE. He's presented as a hero, a white meat babyface. He's getting all of these good receptions, as the narrative should dictate. So it proves that they are capable of writing characters like that. It's just for some reason they fuck it up all the fucking time.
And hence why
I feel like this is straying from the point of kayfabe here. The entire reason why I brought up Roman Reigns and relationship with kayfabe is because it was so fucking weird that they were presenting this as being like the underdog championing and overcoming everything, but everyone fucking booed him because it was bullshit.
Well, yeah, because...
And that's when the audience is as big a part of kayfabe as what's going on in that ring as well.
Yeah, it's a dynamic. Is basically the conclusion of this argument is there's a dynamic.
What would you call the current state of it though? Because if you don't think it's neo kayfabe, what is it? What do you call it nowadays?
New fabe.
Sure.
Like new fabe. I don't know. Hybrid fabe. Fabe. I don't know. Hype fabe. I don't know what.
The yin and the yang.
Hybrid. I don't know.
Yeah, keep saying I don't know. The idea will pop into your head if you keep saying that.
Yeah, no. This is what happens. I just keep saying I don't know, and then my brain panics and goes, just think of something. Squeaky chair.
Cock block.
Cock block. No. That's a great pay-per-view name though. Victory Chode. No, that's a great pay-per-view name. 6-9 Climax. No, that's not. That's a great pay-per-view name. But anyway, it's this sort of like hybrid fabe where it's kind of you take the best parts and then you fuck off the bad bits of each, and that's what we have now. And I think that's the way it is because with social media and the internet and God knows, you can't close Pandora's box, so you just have to deal with what the fuck comes out. And there's a line where I actually agree, don't start like assaulting fans and shit, but at the end of the day, Pandora's box has been opened, and kayfabe now is this weird hybrid of stuff. I say weird hybrid, it's now just a hybrid, it is what it is. And Cornette wishing that it's the 70s, it's never going back to that. Russo...
Well, no, I don't think it should go back to that either. That's what I've always said. You need that line of real life influencing the product to make it better.
Yeah, and when Russo's like, well, who gives a fuck? None of it's real. It's like, well, that's...
Well, that's bad because I want to watch a competitive sport where people fight over a championship, and they do that by running the ropes, doing flips, and with a little bit of drama of a storyline in there.
And I think that's what AEW has done well for the most part until recently with this MJF stuff. But at the end of the day, kayfabe now is sort of a dead term. It's more of a hybrid fabe of sorts, and that's where we're at, and that's the way it will remain forever. There's no way out of it now. You have to just...
That was a good pay-per-view name.
It was a very good pay-per-view name. There's no easy way out. There's no something. Rocky 4 is a great movie. It's so bad it's good. But yeah, that's the end of my TED talk. Kayfabe is dead but alive. It's like a zombie fight.
Kayfabe is dead. Long live kayfabe. Am I right?
Did that make any fucking sense?
I'll make it work in editing. I'll put some fucking triumphant music in the background. The fucking Rocky makes a speech to the UN. That fucking bollocks.
No, he doesn't make a speech to the UN. He makes a speech to the Soviet Union and says, "End the Soviet Union."
I've never seen Rocky, if you can't tell.
Go watch Rocky 4. It's fucking brilliant.
Then I'll understand the context of Punk vs. Moxley, will I? Is that what it is?
Yes, you will. You will understand.
Jesus fucking Christ.
You understand so John Cena versus Rusev from that one WrestleMania. That's basically Rocky 4.
Did someone get a shoe thrown at them? Was there a tank?
Well, I mean, it's not a tank.
Does Rusev know how to drive a tank? What are we doing here? None of this is real.
What kind of kayfabe shit is this? Is he a soldier? What is this bollocks? Wrestling is stupid. Can we just can we just
Why
end
the
it
fuck
on
are we
that?
doing this? Let's do a show about something else.
Let's just not talk about this anymore. I mean, wrestling is wrestling. I swear that's a video. Oh god, I think we've stolen somebody else's idea.
Anyway, that about does it for this week's show.
Nothing was really gained from this. I feel more... I feel like I'm going through a crisis now because of this. Like, what is
Well,
life?
this will give you enough time to fucking figure it out, and then hopefully, by the time the next show rolls around, you'll have a better idea.
Yes. So, thank you for watching. You can go to linktree.com/thesuplah to find all of our links and stuff. Everything is in the description below. If you're listening to this on Spotify, I don't know how it works, so just say that...
So why are you talking about it if you don't know how it works?
Just go to the URL I just said and all that jazz. We'll see you next time. Bye
Yeah,
bye,
good
Sam.
burp. Real good burp during the outro there.
No, I don't.